This video was by request from my mother. If you're having trouble reading is one thing, but why should we read? Obviously, there's the things that teachers in school and science want to tell you, where it helps reduce stress, it's good for concentration, it helps your brain form, it does help with vocabulary, and also you can learn a lot of history, whether that's from fiction or non-fiction. It helps you be a constant learner. But aside from the typical things, I know for me, so for my family, we're from Uganda, Uganda, and I came here year 2000. I was struggling to learn English. I was very much an outdoorsy person, and I didn't want to sit inside and read because we would have these reading logs in school, and I didn't want to read. Maybe because English was hard for me, or maybe because I just wanted to be outside. But eventually I got in trouble for not doing my reading. So I finally sat down and read like one of the books from school. And I think it was a Time Warp Trio stories. And I remember something just changed. And books felt like they opened up a world for me. Time flew by. And it changed from I loved being outside and free. And somehow with books, it felt like I could be free as well. But then there's also a point where I started having trouble fully embracing my emotions. I had a hard time acknowledging my emotions. That might be a better way of putting it. And when I would pick up a book, I could allow myself to feel what that person was feeling. And this is what we call empathy. Books teach empathy. If you want to have people be more empathetic, you make sure that they're readers. You're putting them into someone else's point of view, someone else's perspective. You're making them think how that person would think. So it does teach empathy. It does help people feel their emotions. Like I know there's some people who say that, oh, picking up a sad book when I want to cry. Which I relate to. Sometimes you just need a good cry. Sometimes you just need to pick up a sad book and feel something that's not your own. So there's that. But then too, I think for books, they help me think of people differently. So when I go out into the world, because of the empathy I've learned from books, I do try to think of what other people have gone through, but it's also gone to the point where I started thinking of people as books. I don't even know what chapter I'm on in their story. I don't even know if I'm going to stay in their story. I don't know who has come in and gone out of their life, and I don't know what they've experienced. Maybe at some point I'll learn. Maybe at some point I'll hear the whole story. But I started just giving people so much more credit, sometimes too much, because I don't know what they've been through. The problem with that, it's not even a problem with books. That's just a part of growth. You give other people compassion, but you also have to get to the point where you give yourself compassion and you see yourself as a book and a story, and you realize not the main character energy. That's not what I'm talking about. But where you realize that you make mistakes. Every story, every character, every great story too. People make mistakes. People have feelings. People fall short, but they get up, they learn, they improve. And I've tried to get better at having more compassion for myself and just remembering, yeah, it's okay that I don't know this right now, but I'm going to get better. It's been a work in progress. And it's funny because when you're looking at other people, you can easily say that, but you have to get to the point where you can say that to yourself too, where you can say, we're only in chapter 5. Like, there's much to learn. There's more adventure to adventure. If you're not there yet, you're not there yet. I think sometimes there is good in romanticizing your life and thinking of it as a story or a movie and saying, there's a place I want to be and I'm not there yet, but it's okay because it's a journey. And what can I do to get there? But then sometimes there's just too much romanticism of just the future and you're not actually taking the steps. But anyway, this isn't about that. This is about why you should read. You should read. You should read because you should read. You should read because it teaches empathy. You should read because it does help you grow as a person. It helps you think of things from different points of view. Part of growth is learning. And you should read because it's also comfort. I remember in the beginning I was very outdoorsy, and by outdoorsy I just mean I was outside a lot. I was out of doors. But when I started reading, it was just very comforting. It feels like there's a way out. Like no matter what happens in life, there's an escape. And you shouldn't escape life always, but it just feels like you're not stuck in the bad feelings, that they will come and go. It just feels like you're giving yourself pause. You're giving yourself a moment to feel good because you're not so fixated on yourself. You're putting yourself aside and you're focusing on this imaginary fictional person and you're rooting for them, or you're rooting for a situation, a town, a community. And sometimes you do just need to take a moment and root for something other than yourself. Anyway. Yeah, you should read. You should read because it's healthy. It will keep you healthy. It will help you not be self-centered. It will help you grow in empathy. It'll help you learn big words. Big words like penultimate, or I can't think of any big words. But also I remember one story where this guy had made an agreement, a deal, that he would stay in this one room in this guy's basement for years. And as long as he could stay there and never leave, then he would get all of this money. And in that basement, in that room, there was just a lot of books. And so he did so much reading. In the end, he had made it almost to the end of all the days. But what he did instead was that he walked out before the time was up, right before, because he decided that after all of his reading, all of his learning, he didn't need any of that. Now, I'm not saying that if you read, you won't want money. That when you read, you'll be enlightened, but instead, it'll help you grow as a person to have more purpose for your life than just what other people want from you. I think that's one of the most important things. Reading has taught me to think outside of the box. I was that kid in English class who loved raising my hand and thinking of, like, why would the character do that? Is what the society or the people around them saying accurate, or should they want something more or something different? And I think reading can really help you to just question why you do the things that you do. What are the motives? And also question what you want out of life for you to contemplate the kind of life that you want to live. That's kind of how I want to treat it. And I tend to leave a good book having questions, not just about the characters and the story and the plot, but also about my life. Yeah. I don't know. This was from my mom. I think those are the reasons I can come up with why you should read. I hope that made sense. I hope they're concise. I don't think they are, but maybe I'll come back to it if I can think of more, but maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough. I hope that answered your question, Mom. I hope that did. Ta-ta. Bye.